We'll get started with questions. We got several. We will start with John Titel, and LT, you're on deck. Go ahead, John.
Thanks, Coach. Your first exhibition is on Tuesday against the Tar Heels, and I noticed that you brought in a Duke national champion in Nolan Smith. What does Nolan bring to the table, and have you gotten the sense from him that he hates North Carolina more than you hate anything in the world?
That's the only reason why I brought Nolan in was for this exhibition. You didn't know that? But no, obviously Nolan being in that culture for so long, winning the national championship as a player, and bringing that energy to our team is something that we wanted. He's a hard worker. He hit the ground running, and he hasn't missed a beat since he's been there. And I don't know if it's a hate for North Carolina, but he knows them as good as well as anyone. So it was just so happened for him to be here now, and then we play them on Tuesday. So it's not his scout actually, which is crazy, but he's going to give a lot of input on that scout.
LT, coming to you next, and then Wes after that.
Hey, Coach. You by far have the probably toughest non-conference schedule of any team that I can think of this year in Division I basketball. I'm just going to be blunt. What the hell are you thinking?
If you know me, I've done this since day one. It's gotten better and better every year because we had contracts when I first got in, but we played Texas Tech that year in Miami. They went to the finals and had a chance to win the game in regulation up 3. You know that. We played at LSU. LSU was a tournament team. Every team we played that year went to the tournament out almost in our non-conference. So for me, because they don't respect, and I hate to say that, the AAC enough, we have to get our points by playing quote unquote bigger teams or larger teams around the country. And that's just what I want. And the other part of it is I want to know what it feels like to play the best early so that I can get the bar for our guys and see where we are.
No.
Next question is from Wes, and then we'll go to Action News 5. Go ahead, Wes.
Thanks. Hey, Coach, I know last year to end the season, we spoke a little bit about your mother and some ailments and things that she had going on. So if we could we get an update on her?
Yeah, my mother.
Going into this? Go ahead.
Okay,
sorry.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. The second question is, what are some things that you took from the offseason and implementing it into this year as far as changes? I know you like to be more of a defensively sound.
Yeah, well, first question, my mother's doing fine. Thank you for asking. She survived throat cancer. That's a blessing. I've had other family members in my family to pass away from cancer. They weren't so lucky. And for my mother to still be here, that's a blessing. She is happy and ready to come to some games this year. So that's awesome. The second part of that is I went out this year in the portal and handpicked these young men that we have for toughness, for the grit, for the competitiveness, and to have the chip on their shoulders. So I got back to who I was. I think I went after talent the last couple of years and didn't go out and try to handpick guys that were just tough and gritty and grind. They will grind every possession, and that's what I've done this year. So I'm excited to get back to that going into this season.
All right, next question is going to come from Action News 5, and then we're going to go to Terry D, and then Dan. Go ahead, Action News 5.
Hey, Petty, what's up, man? You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man. So looking ahead to this week and then the exhibition against Alabama, we were talking about the non-conference schedule and how you want the toughest test right away. But with the exhibition games that don't really count for anything as far as ratings, do you view it as almost house money to kind of see where you guys stand early, or is there a little bit of pressure to put on a good performance in these games before they start for real?
No, I want to play really hard and well for real. I mean, I know that's absurd kind of because it's still early, but I did have my team since June. So having my first year, having the entire team on the court June 1st was amazing. And I think we're ready to play against someone else. So I'm looking forward to that game and playing a real game against a really good team.
Next question is going to come from Terry D.
What's up, Petty?
Hey, what's going on, Terry D?
Hey, man, what's some of the strengths you see from this new team already this early in the season?
I think the biggest strength right away is their unity together. They're hanging together on the floor and off the floor. And when you see that, that means they're going to go to every extreme to play for one another out there on the court. And that's what they're showing every practice. When you give me a team that's going to run through a wall and stay together, then I feel like I can have a successful season and win a lot of games. So this team knows who they are. They're very close. And the biggest strength right now is unity.
All right, next question is going to come from Dan, then Sam, and then LT to close out. Go ahead, Dan.
Penny, we know that you brought in transfers, and we live in a world of the NIL and the transfer portal and a new team every season in some cases for certain schools. Just what you could say about, can you develop and implement and really grow a team and a culture in the world that we're currently in the college climate?
To be very honest with you, because I've had both sides of it, I've had all freshmen at one point, and I've had the portal like now it's fully portable, one freshman. It is so tough to build a culture with guys coming from different walks of life in 1 year. They're just being honest. I mean, if someone tells you it's easy, it's hard to win games on this level anyway. And then to bring in new guys at every position, no matter how talented they are at every position, it's going to be tough. I think that if you could keep 4 or 5 guys, if that's the blessing, and then you blend in freshmen and portal, I think that's the way to go, because you don't need a team full of freshmen and you don't need a team full of all portal guys. This is a blessing because the character of these young men, they blended together really nicely. So that makes this work.
And a quick follow-up to this, just what you've seen from yourself since coming to Memphis to right now, how have you grown and evolved as a leader and a coach?
Yeah, I think I'm sharper now as a coach. I got thrown right into the fire. I wanted that fire. Sometimes they say you got to be careful what you wish for, but I did it for my city and for the school, but also being a competitor and wanting to win. It's so hard to win on this level, but I think what I've learned is that it's hard to win on this level. The structure of what you have to have on this level, the culture has to be set on discipline, responsibility, accountability, all those words, family, respect, all those words is what it has to lay on. And I've always been a very hard worker, but I think I've kind of, as a player's coach, I've kind of let too many things go along the way that I've gotten to understand that we're closing the door on all of those non-negotiables. And from day one, having my entire team there, I was able to put together that culture of non-negotiables mean non-negotiables. If this happens, then this is going to happen, and stand on that. And that's what I've been doing from day one. And I haven't done that in either of the 6 seasons consistently enough.
Thanks, Penny. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Next question is from Sam Shoemaker. Go ahead, Sam.
Coach, it's Sam from Memphis Rivals. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm here at TPC Southwind, and I know I've seen you in a couple tournaments out here. I just popped in to ask a question. What's your personal record? What's your best score out here?
Best score is even par at the TPC. I've been out there for 24 years, so I better have an even par round by then.
Well, you're doing a lot better than me, man. I appreciate you, Coach.
No problem. All right.
All right, Coach, we got a question from LT and a follow-up from Action News to close you out. So,
okay,
LT, go ahead.
All right, I just have kind of 2 quick questions. So, Butch McRae, if you were back in high school again, do you ever imagine like what NIL might have been when you were coming through high school going to college?
You know, I thought about that, and it definitely would have been one of the biggest in the country, honestly, because, you know, my talent, the God gift that he gave me would have spoken for that, especially in today's era of how, you know, you're looking around and seeing guys get $1 million. Some guys are talking about $2 million. I mean, that's crazy money, but I feel like Butch McRae could have gotten $1 million.
Yeah. And then the last question is one word to describe the American Athletic Conference.
Tough. It's tough.
No.
I can speak on that one word because that's the respect that we don't get. When you have every team in this conference, those guys play with a chip on their shoulders, man. And every game is hard. It's a knockdown, drag out, no matter what the name is, and it's tough.
Yeah. Well, good luck, Coach. We're rooting for you.
Thank you.
One more, Coach, for Action 5 to close you out.
Okay.
Penny, you talked about how you went for talent last year. How would you, I know every year's a new year, how would you compare the raw talent of this team compared to last year's? And if it's lower, how much does the cohesiveness that you're seeing from this group and the togetherness make up for that gap, if at all?
I think last year, you know, Javon Quinterly, super talented. Naquan Tomlin, super talented. David Jones, it speaks for himself. Those guys could really score the basketball. So this team can't score like those guys. But they make up for it with being together. They make up for it with being tougher as a unit, covering for each other, communicating more. And it isn't fair to say all of that because I kind of got that team gathered in August, where I got this team in June. And they've been able to learn more under me and be more adaptive to what I'm teaching versus teaching as the season was going. I felt like even until December, even though we were winning in the non-conference, I was still teaching these guys the system because Naquan didn't come until later. So at the end of the day, last year's team more talented, this year's team more together and more dangerous.